1,000 liters of sugar beets weigh 700 kilograms, which is 80 kilograms less than the same amount of wheat. However, harvesting this amount with the largest available header in the game will take us 14 seconds, and in that time, we would harvest almost twice as many sugar beets. Additionally, it would require a field nearly 6 times smaller, as harvesting this amount of wheat requires 6 areas. So much for the theory, but let's see how it works in practice. This time, we have a better strategy. The map is once again 4 fields, but this time we have one enormous field of sugar beets and 1 million to start, which quickly disappeared from the account in exchange for the largest harvester, the fastest tractor, and we chose this trailer. To turn theory into practice, we can't let the harvester wait for us. The trailer fills up quite quickly, and now the most important thing is to start building our beet pile well, so it will be easy to expand later. The harvester cannot stop, so I apologize, but I have to drive over the growing beets, and the third trailer is just arriving, which means we already have over 100 tons on the counter. We obviously won't be selling the beets. To develop, we will receive a reward for every goal achieved. One full harvester tank fills 83% of this trailer, so theoretically a slightly smaller one would suffice, but at least I don't get bored and keep coming to fill it up completely. I got distracted for a moment, and the harvester was at the end of the field, so I didn't make it in time, but it stopped only for a second. I don't know if this tractor lacks power or what, but it's very hard to push the trailer onto this heap. It's necessary to pile it up nicely. Oh, I managed at least the end. On the first day, I managed to collect over 500 tons in total, which also meant completing a task for which I received an old tractor with a cultivator. While I was driving to the field with the new acquisition, the harvester of course did not idle, and unfortunately it had to wait for me for a moment, but we are now back to work at full speed. Now we will nicely go around so the worker does not drive into it, or worse, get blocked by it during cultivation. Our heap already looks quite nice, and we have only 1,000 liters here, which is a drop in the ocean of what we still need to collect. The worker turned around beautifully and did not drive into our beets, which was practically impossible, but it's always worth keeping an eye on him. It may not be very real, but you have to manage somehow by driving in this way. The physics in our beloved game forces us to take such actions, so I don't want to, but I have to do it this way. Thanks to the tractor with the cultivator working faster than the harvester, we managed to prepare most of the previously harvested field for the next sowing. Additionally, we hit a milestone of the first 1,000 tons, for which I received $1 million. This allowed me to double our efforts by buying the same set of machines, except for the trailer. This trailer holds exactly the same amount of beets and is a bit cheaper, which is quite funny, but in this case, I'm not complaining. Now, with 2 tractors and trailers, I'll set up the auto drive mod so that the workers can collect beets from the harvester. You can find a tutorial on how to set this up in one of my first shorts on the channel. Now that we have 2 workers who will collect the beets for me, I decided to rent this wheel loader. It was in the plans earlier, which is why I bought a cheaper trailer. I hope this won't be a bad decision and that the wheel loader will be at least somewhat useful here. The problem with this auto drive mod is that the workers don't unload the harvester while it's working. They wait until it's full, as we can see now. They could drive up, but maybe it's because they would have to drive over the growing beets. This wheel loader isn't working out very well, so I probably wasted a few thousand, but it was worth a try. It turned out funny because both workers and the 2 harvesters stopped simultaneously. I guess I need to take the wheel and help them out a bit more. My assumptions were correct because, as we can see, when they can drive over the harvested part of the field, they immediately unload from the harvester while it's working. There's even double proof of this, as both have now driven up without needing to drive over the growing field. What is he doing here? It's the worker driving, not me, and it's good that I switched to him just in time to stop him before he got stuck. The harvesters have just finished this part, so I need to help them to avoid getting stuck, as I noticed it just in time. It looks cool how they drive one after the other. If it were a silage harvester, it would even be unloading by now, but we can only imagine it. I ended up with a slight zigzag on this heap, but what matters is its size, not that it's perfectly straight. By working with double the power, I managed to double our previous harvest in just one day, completing another goal and earning $1 million. The third harvester is just arriving in the field, but that's not the only investment. I bought 2 harvesters. As you can see, just over half of the field is left, but now it will disappear very quickly. The work is in full swing, and as you can see, I haven't finished unloading one trailer when another delivery is already on its way. I definitely won't be bored now. Sorry, but I have to drive through the middle of the field now because every second counts to unload the harvester smoothly. And this one, as you can see, is literally at the other end of the field. What's going on here? This is the first time I'm seeing something like this because this modification is really smart, and these workers usually don't make such strange mistakes. I've been so focused on dumping beets onto the pile that I forgot our tractor with the cultivator is standing still because I had to stop it earlier when it almost drove into the growing beets. Now we quickly fill the trailer to the top and hire a worker to drive to the unloading spot. Quickly switch to the next one who is already at the unloading spot, and this is how my work on this field looks all the time. The mystery of why they drive like this is now solved. The field is uneven here, making the trailer higher, and you have to drive up precisely to collect beets from the harvest. There's a slight traffic jam here, so this part will be finished, but they need some help because they can't pass each other on their own. Our tractor is barely hanging on because there's no time to visit the workshop again. Look at how huge this pile is. You can't even see the end. The inevitable just happened, but I have a plan. I just got 60,000 for that broken junk, and hopefully something newer will show up soon. Another day and I can finally implement the plan for a new pile because I'm losing too much time driving to the other end of the field. For the next harvest, I'll be dumping into two piles. This part of the field is probably, or rather definitely, more uneven because the workers are stopping like this more often. Despite the obstacles, thanks to not having to drive to the other end of the field, our drivers are waiting for the call instead of the harvesters waiting for them. Attention, will two harvesters unload at the same time? Ah, I didn't make it. This harvester needs a bit of adjustment because we can't have just one small row of beets left. Perfect. Here we have 3 harvesters on this small piece and one over there with the last pass as well, which means that if everyone reaches the end, we're done with the field. From the entire field, I managed to harvest just under 5,000 tons, but the goal was to harvest the whole field, for which I received a whopping 5 million. New equipment has arrived. The tractors have been purchased and the machines rented, because I have a better plan for spending that money. We carefully go around our pile to ensure the worker doesn't run into it and destroy it, because we know how physics works in our beloved game. The money is quickly disappearing from the account, but the work is going just as fast and the field will be sown in no time. Half the field is already fertilized, so now I'm going for another cultivator to quickly prepare this part for sowing. This part was sown very quickly, so half the field is practically ready for the next harvest. Now, we just need everyone to reach the end and the sowing can be considered complete. The first beets of the season are starting to fill the hopper. As you can see, our pile of beets already takes up more than half the field. We need to fully utilize our budget, so we're bringing in another 6 harvesters and the tractors are ready to pick up 2 more trailers. Now the most challenging part, logistics. We need to strategically position these 10 harvesters so that they are not too close together but also not too far. In the meantime, a bit of a traffic jam has formed here. Even 3 drivers with trailers have met up because I set up auto drive incorrectly, and instead of having 2 at each pile, 3 have arrived here. Whoa, I wasn't expecting this. The harvester doesn't back up across half the field, it actually goes to the start. The only question is, will it drive into our pile because it's a bit unevenly spread there? I don't know what just happened here, but that was a very strange move. And here, an even stranger thing is happening. There aren't even any beets here. This isn't my field. I have no idea where this worker is going. It's starting to go smoothly now. I constantly have to unload trailers, whether on one side or the other, so we're getting into a good rhythm. If the field were flat or our trailers lower, everything would go even faster. But unfortunately, that's not the case. In literally 2 minutes, I unloaded 5 trailers, so it's going really fast and smoothly as long as nothing unwanted happens in the field. Things are moving so quickly that the harvester didn't manage to dig up this section, so we have to dump some beets onto our pile. I stopped the worker at the end of the field to show you how enormous this pile is. Part of the field is almost harvested, and we'll need to find a new area for these harvesters to work. But let's get them to the end first. This harvester's hopper is really full. It's a shame it didn't think to unload it here. By maximizing the number of workers, constantly unloading trailers myself, and fixing boogie workers, I was harvesting almost 1,700 tons per real-time hour. By doing a quick calculation, I can answer the question in the title. With seasonal growth, it would be impossible, but with it turned off, anything is possible.